Hello, investors. Excuse me, it's Don Vandenbord, Senior Portfolio Manager with Revere Asset Management. Today is Tuesday, November 16th, 4:59 p.m. Eastern Time, coming to you from dark and cold Manchester, New Jersey, with tonight's Revere Market Insight video. State of the market, we are in an uptrend. You can see over here leadership. We downgraded this last week on some harsh selling of growth stocks, but that dissipated by the end of the week, and we've had 2 decent days for growth stocks. We're back since Friday in a bullish and or uptrend for market leaders. As far as the 5 major indexes go, all trending above their moving averages: the short-term 21-day exponential moving average, the medium-term 50-day moving average, and the long-term 200-day moving average. We track 3 time frames in-house at Revere here, and when we've got market leaders acting well in our short-term and medium and long-term, but especially short-term, trending above the 21-day exponential moving average, that's when we want to be as invested in the market as we can possibly be, because that's when the wind is at our back. And if that changes, you break below the 21, we're going to be taking off quite a bit of risk, locking in gains, moving stops higher, cutting any new positions short if they're not acting well. Basically what we do is we lick our finger tip, hold it up in the air, see which way the winds are blowing, and follow that. We don't get in the way of a steam train coming down the tracks. We're going to get off the tracks, and anybody that's invested with us for a while knows how we got out of the way of the COVID steam train last year, and then got back in and had a fantastic year. So if you're interested in an approach like this, I'll give you our contact information shortly when I go to the website. So what happened today? Growth stocks led the indexes higher. Very strong day. Growth outperformed the value half of both large caps, mid caps, and small caps. Very clear that growth was what was in favor today. So the G5 index up 1.13%. That's an indicator that growth and growth stocks are acting higher. That's what we rely on, as well as the action of our individual leaders. S&P 500 open flat. That flat open was the low of the day. We closed above 4,700 for the first time, despite a weak close the last hour. But S&P 500 up 0.4%. NASDAQ 100 open negative, finished up 0.7%. Dow Jones Industrial Average up 0.15%. Mid caps up 0.1%. Russell up 0.17%, but again, the growth portion of small caps up 0.4%. Value portion down 0.1%. As far as mid caps go, the growth portion up 0.38%, mid caps down 0.19%. It was even more obvious with the large caps, the growth component up 0.8%, while the value portion of the S&P 500 was negative by 0.2%. So definitely risk on in growth today. It really kicked in about 11 o'clock when we busted above the 4,700 level, continued higher, and then pulled back into the close. So let's take a look at some market facts, but let's take a look first at the contact info. For the Revere Asset Management, you can email any of us, Dan, Tim, Hunter, Muriel, Alex, or Don at revereasset.com, or phone 855 Real Wealth. That's 855-732-5932. You can actually talk to the people making the management decisions. And I don't mean the decisions of picking mutual funds for you, because we don't use mutual funds unless it's dictated by a plan that we're managing. And in that case, we stick away from stick with the low-cost index mutual funds, and then use our technical tools we stick with the low-cost index funds and stick with our technical tools for how heavy or how weak or how light we are in those different investments. And if you're interested in this approach, if you've got an annuity, we can do an exchange out of your high fee annuity into a low fee one and add our proprietary signals for risk management. Basically, we can help you out of any situation that you're in. You just need to give us a shout. The best person to contact is the big cheese, the head honcho, President Dan Stewart, Dan at RevereAsset.com. Or you can call 855-REAL-WEALTH. That's 855-732-5932. Okay, let's get to the charts here now, and we'll start with the S&P 500. I'm going to bring up an intraday chart here. Here's a 5-minute chart. You can see low of the day here, this right at the open. Quick pop up, pulled back a little bit, going into 11 o'clock, and then shoom, broke above this 4,700 level, which was the high of the first 30 minutes. Anytime you break above the high of the first 30 minutes, that's a range breakout. That means the bulls are in charge as long as you stay above the high of that 30-minute opening 30-minute range. And then you can see we trickled up higher to 47.15 here before some selling came in a little after 2 o'clock. Not the best close, but we came down, bounced right at that 4,700 level. So let's see if we can hold that round level tomorrow. Let's go to a little bit of a longer time frame here. Let's go to the 60-minute, and you can see here the most recent low on the downside that we want to definitely stay above is this 46.31 level that we hit on 11:10. That was the weakness that I mentioned last week before the strong close to the week. So there's your S&P 500. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ 100. And got up to the 400 level late on a Friday 2 weeks ago, pulled back a little bit. We're trying to challenge that again, always staying above this key 21-day moving average. That's the green line there on the NASDAQ 100. Let's look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Trending nicely above the 21, above this 360 level, headed back toward all-time highs that were reached last Monday. Let's check mid-caps now. From a relative strength standpoint, still trending higher for the most part, and that's an all-time high close on the mid-cap index there. Finally, small caps, IWM, a little bit of lagging over the last couple of weeks, which is interesting. Mid-caps treading water, while small caps pulling back a little bit. That's mostly because of the pullback in oils, but you can see here still above this big breakout area and above the 21-day exponential moving average. So let's take a look at the market facts here, and we'll compare the key levels that we're going to be looking at back to the S&P 500. Continues to be good news as these moving averages move higher. Should we pull back, as I mentioned, we'll lock in our gains. So basically, every time a dollar your account goes higher by $1, we're locking in a portion of that on the pullback because our stops get raised at the same time. So the dollar and rates, however, US dollar and rates. So let's look at the TNX. After a sharp pullback on that coincided with a decent rally, we've had rates ticking higher over the last 4 or 5 sessions. Not what we want to see, and if that it hasn't yet impacted on an inverse correlation, the indexes themselves, but that's always something that we're keeping an eye on. And then the dollar UUP, that broke out last week, hasn't really been, we've had strength in the markets continuing, but it is something that we're keeping an eye on. Let's take a look at a couple of sectors to see how they did. ITB, so despite rates going up, you might think that would impact housing negatively, but it doesn't. We've done some studies on this, and as rates head higher, so do the construction index ETFs, as well as the housing stocks. Toll Brothers, for example, looking really good. Lennar, looking really good. DR Horton, DHI, looking pretty good, staying in sync with XHB and ITB. That's at all-time high, so a very nice run on home builders. How about semiconductors? They also continue to be a very strong area of the market at all-time highs today. Software, IGV, also had a good day. Not quite back at all-time highs, which were reached last week. and Meta. This ETF and the stocks in it continue to just be on fire. We own Roblox, RBLX, in this sector, and we added a little bit to it today. Some things that were weak today: we had a negative weakness on cannabis stocks yesterday, and that followed through to the downside today. Still holding above this key 30 level where it broke out from. Banks a little bit on the weak side today. Really just biding time, but weak relative to the indexes. Uranium also had a down day today. And oils started weak, got strong midday, and then closed in the red. So let's look at some key areas here that I want to discuss. We closed at 47.01 on the S&P 500, as I mentioned, first time closing above there. And the ADMA, which flattened out last week, is now rising again, trending above a rising ADMA. You can see how we did this for 3 to 4 weeks here. That's very healthy in the market. We can get another run like that into December or into the close of the year. We're going to have a very Merry Christmas indeed. So the 21-day exponential moving average up to 46.18 now. Again, anytime these averages continue to go up, that's locked in gains in case we start to roll over in the market and our stops get hit. We'll let the market take us out until evidence to the contrary comes in. We're going to let the market take our account values higher also. 50-day moving average will come above 4,500 for the first time yesterday. Or tomorrow it'll come above 4,500 for the first time, and then we're just 46 points away from it going above this key prior high. That's going to be very bullish for the market because that'll give you 2 levels of support on a pullback to those prior highs if the 50-day moving average gets above there. So for now, green arrows across the board on the key levels that we're watching, the 200-day moving average all the way down 10.3% lower. So looking good on the indexes there. How about some individual stocks? I mentioned Roblox, RBLX. We did our 5th buy on this today. After it had this massive volume, 1,000% above average volume, 42% move up. People get scared to buy stocks when they do that, but trust me, we've studied these leaders, and when you see a big volume move up like this, this is indicative of higher prices. It's indicative of Wall Street being off sides, and they need to trip all over themselves to pay up to get into a position that they hadn't been in before. And we see this time after time, and we really focus on the big volume and these big gaps up, power earnings gap moves, and all-time highs that consolidated for 5 days. You can see here inside this gap up day range for the most part, and then busted out on some big volume today, 400% above average volume. So this is our second largest position, maybe our largest position that we have now. There's a couple that are between 5 and 6%, but we've added, as I mentioned, to this 5 times since it first got above this, pulled back to the 100 level after it had this big gap up, played around a little bit, but never got more than 2% below that gap up day, allowing us to get some more good buys around the 100 area, and then added today as it broke above that prior all-time high. Unity Software is in the same metaverse type stock, but look how it closed at the high of the day despite the negative news that they had a secondary offering today. So that's very positive action there, and I showed that META ETF that those stocks are big percentages of. So what else had a good day today? Ambarella, another pretty big percentage of our portfolios here at Revere, bounced off the 21-day exponential moving average, and net closed at all-time highs. This is our right up with Roblox, and 1, 2, 3, Roblox, net, and AMBA are our 3 largest positions at Revere. Tesla we got stopped out of yesterday when it broke back below this prior low. But you can see it ended up having a decent close and broke back above the 21-day exponential moving average today. We may revisit this if it calms down, puts in a little bit of a bottoming base here around this 1,000 level. Let's see what other stocks are key. AMD, we also own this. NVIDIA's got earnings this week, so that's definitely something we're keeping an eye on. AMD, all-time high close. Dexcom, DXCM, about our 5th largest position here, all-time high close. Bros, we sold half of when it broke below this prior low. Had a decent afternoon. We got out a little bit above 60. This is what we bought this day, so we took a bit of a loss on that, but never want to let our losses get out of control. So we did cut a loss on that, some that we brought back here when it was still inside the base. We've still got gains on, so we do still have a small portion of Dutch Brothers. We initiated positions today in coin after it showed some strength after this pullback this morning. Off of a 3-day up with a bounce off the 21-day exponential moving average. We also added to new. The best looking of the steel stocks as it bounced off the 21-day exponential moving average. Let's see what else. And yesterday we added to Boeing. Now, this is confounding a little bit. You can see a big day on Boeing. They said they're resuming sales of one of their planes, and it was up on 146% above average volume, up 5.5% when it broke above the 21 and this 232 level, which served as resistance several times here. Back in late September, early October, we took a position. Didn't really expect to see a follow-up with a down 3% day on that, breaking the low of the gap, but we're still in this. We've got a half size on it. Note how volume was quite a bit lower today as it closed compared to the 2 big volume up days that we've had with this. So the volume patterns are very positive. Price action, great yesterday, not so great today. We want to see this get back above the 200-day moving average right away. That's going to wrap it. As always, I'd like to hear from you. I'm on Twitter at dvandenbord, email don@revereasset.com, or you can call us 855-REAL-WEALTH. Tim will have Wednesday's video. Hunter will be there on Thursday. I'll be back on Friday. So wrapping up Tuesday, 11/16, this is Don Vandenbord with Just the Facts. Thanks for listening and have a great day.